what habits or routines have been the most transformative for maintaining your own personal growth?
The winning the alarm.
It's so true, right?
The winning the alarm.
That's why it stuck with me, because it's so true. It literally changes your entire trajectory of your day. Yeah. That one thing. It's just not hitting snooze. That one, it's so powerful. I'm telling you, like, it is the most powerful thing, in my opinion, because you never, ever have a bad day almost when you don't hit snooze. And when you do hit snooze, your day doesn't go as smooth as it typically does. And I'm not saying that every day is perfect by any means when you don't, but there is something mentally that happens where you're like, oh yeah, like now I've won the day almost, like just by winning the alarm. So,
and for me, those extra 10 minutes are not worth it, because usually I wake up even more tired than I was.
Well, there's science behind that too, and I think we talked about that, the whole circadian rhythm thing, and it actually makes you feel worse.
Exactly. So,
but I will say this to everyone out there: it does not mean that when the alarm goes off, that we are not, the first thing in our head is, you know, that like, it feels so good. And the plush pillow and the, you know, like, and you know, it's a normal response to as soon as the alarm goes off for you kind of be like, shit, here we go again. You know, that's normal, but it's the decision to not listen to that negative or, you know, your inner bitch or whatever. So,
and like, it's so powerful because there are people who come to us who've not won at anything. So it's like, before you lose a pound, before you start eating right, before you do your first workout, listen, let's win something.
Yep.
For the last 3-4 years, somebody been like, yo, I just keep sleeping it. I just can't shake it. So it's like, if I can give you a quick win right there, like you wake up like, oh, I'm up. I'm moving, I'm grooving. Right. I feel, that's what I'm trying to nudge for you. Because some people, it's just the reality of the situation, they haven't won in so long. So it's like, oh, what if we can break down these wins? Because so many times people have these big wins all the time. It's like, let's get a small one. Let's get a quick one really quick. You know, let's feel good about ourselves. And you'll be surprised how many text messages we get from clients like, yo, man, like I'm up. Like, you know how it is. Like, yo, I'm up. I woke up at 6 a.m. Like, it's like, great. I woke up at 5. It's like, great. And it's like, all of a sudden, it's like the signals that are sent into their brain is what we want. It's like, yo, I can do something. I can do something that I thought I couldn't do. So winning the alarm is, like you said, is by far, you can't explain it until it becomes a routine of yours and you start to believe in yourself.
And also, like, a lot of people don't see waking up as a win. So they will wake up at 5 a.m., but they were just curious. It's like, no, that's a win. A lot of people don't do that. So it's like also like letting people know that like that is a win in itself. They're just not aware of it.
And I love that it's framed as a small win because, to your point, everyone wants these huge wins. They want to lose 30 pounds. They want the promotion. They want the raise. They want this. But they don't realize, like, it starts with these small wins daily that get you to the big wins. So if you can get that small win from the start, then the next one, and then there's a domino effect too. And I just can't say enough about that. It's so funny how you're literally in my head, and I'm like, I kind of laugh at it now in the morning because I'm like, is he? What advice would you give to someone who feels overwhelmed or stuck at the beginning of their reinvention journey?
I think the first advice is, you know, we talk about rewiring the brain and like that's like, you know, our first step. But I think it's kind of the identity crisis. Who do you want to be? So it's like before we even get into all that, let's describe who you want to be. Let's identify that person. That person will tell you so much about your habits, your actions, your thoughts, where you are right now. So I think that if we can identify with that person, and I'm not just saying about what they do, what they look like, what they feel like, how they think. You know what I'm saying? If somebody's 30 pounds overweight, I highly doubt when you close your eyes, you see yourself future 30 pounds overweight. You don't. You know, I would hope not. You know, I would hope that you would see somebody like, hey, I know I can do better than this, you know? So I want you to identify that person, see it, smell it, feel it, everything about it. And that's where I want you to rewire your brain and say, okay, now let's start doing these things that this person would do. How would they act? Who would their environment be? You know, we talk about, you know, she was saying she struggled with like partying, and it's like, well, if you want to do this, would that person do that? No.
Right.
So the identity crisis comes because people are realizing their future person versus future self wouldn't do it, but they're doing it. And you're realizing you're never going to get there. You know, so I think it's just rewiring the brain to think a certain way and picturing the person you want to become.
Do you find that that's probably one of y'all's biggest frustrations with your clients?
For sure.
Because they tell you in the beginning what they want to be, but then they're not willing to do what it's required to be that person.
Yeah. Man, you know, we can talk all day, man, but it's like one thing that, like, let's say I'm having an initial call with somebody, right? So we're on the initial call, and they could have already bought the package or not. It doesn't really matter. I hear this a lot. Yeah, but I like to. Yeah, but I usually. And it's like, listen, like, do you hear what you're saying? You want to become this person, but I usually and I like to do this. We can't bring everything with us to become this person.
Right.
We will never become that person. So that's a lot of things that, like, I hear that I struggle with. It's just like the way the mind thinks. It's like it's so jumps you. What's comfortable? How can we get this great result but stay comfortable along the way? It's literally impossible. It's impossible. Yep. So I think that's one thing that we definitely, have to overcome with clients.
Also goes back to the win the alarm thing. Yeah. What's probably the number one thing y'all hear, because I hear it, I'm not a morning person. Mm-hmm. Like, so now you're telling yourself who you are when there's no such thing as a morning person. Like, that's all bullshit.
It's a choice.
It's a choice. It's a decision. So, and we become the things we tell ourselves. So if you're constantly telling yourself, I'm not a morning person, well, then you're never going to be a morning person. So you have to start changing the conversation that's going on in your head and literally saying, I am a morning person. Like, I am, not but, or usually, or all that other stuff that you said. So true.
It's frustrating because it's like, hey, I don't have enough time in the day. And I'm like, okay, well, let's wake up at 5. Well, I'm not a morning person. So we're at the point now, it's only 24 hours in a day. So I don't really know how I can help you if you're not going to escape the person's habits and actions that you are right now. Because it's always excuse. When I'm like you just said, we have to tell ourselves completely different. Like, people tell themselves they're a champion before they're a champion. You don't just wake up one day and you win the NBA Finals. No, you truly believed it and you told yourself, I'm going to win, and you win. So I think that's it's huge. As you just said, tell yourself, though, I am a morning person. I am this, I am that, and you will become it.
Did you happen to see the Style Benders documentary? Mm-mm. Yeah. Are you into MMA at all? Like, you ever watch it?
I watch it.
You know Adesanya?
Yeah. Did he just fight?
So he just came out with a YouTube and a documentary. Mm-hmm. I think it was on YouTube. And he does like affirmations, like looking at himself in the mirror and saying these things over, and he did it for years and years and years. And he's a little out there in certain areas, but it just, again, there's so much power in words and the things that we tell ourselves. Like, it's just, and it's amazing because most of the time the excuses or the complaining of your clients and why they're not getting the results they want is because the things they're telling themselves. Because then they're never going to become this new version of themselves if they keep thinking and talking like the old version. Mm-hmm. So
I think the other day I was listening to a podcast said about, like, a lot of people come to you and they ask you, what can I do and when can I not do? It's like, well, it's a decision at the end of the day of who you want to be. So for eating purposes, for example, if I see a burger there, I identify myself as a healthy person. So my decision is not to eating, because I'm not a person that eats a burger, for example, every day, right? I occasionally.
I was about to say, don't be knocking my burgers,
I love my
girl.
burgers. I love my burgers. I eat them occasionally. But on Monday, I'm not gonna come and, like, that's my first choice, because I identify myself as someone that wants to inspire people, and for that I have to maintain a certain, like, physique and stuff. So it's not about do's and don'ts. It's about deciding who you want to be. Like what you said was very powerful about, like, how you view yourself. I don't view myself as someone that eats burgers every single day, so I'm not gonna do it. It's not like I'm gonna tell you don't eat burgers. Do what you decide you want to be.
Can you share a moment when you almost gave up on your reinvention journey and what has helped you push through? Oh, she lit up on that one. All right, Sophia, dive in.
Yeah, it was probably when they told me I needed my hip replacement. I was like, you know what? Why would I continue waking up early? Why would I continue eating right? Why would I continue going to the gym? I'm gonna lose it all anyway. I'm gonna be out for a couple months. So that was kind of like a moment for me. And he actually, this is not for you. You're waking up every day not for you. You're waking up for others, to inspire others. Till the day you have your surgery, that day you're gonna stop and rest and recover. But before that, we gotta keep helping others. Put your ego aside. So
I love how you frame it, because it definitely, if you made it about yourself, then it is all about yourself. So it's kind of about, it's your decision instead of making a decision for others. So it's a powerful way to look at life in general. So
it's like, come on, man. Come on, do this for you. This is gonna make you more. I can't explain that to you. But if you locking up here physically, mentally, emotionally, it's gonna make you money because you're gonna carry yourself a certain way. So you're gonna be more confident in yourself. So
and people, listen, we live in a world where if you walk in a room and you're in shape and you look good, instantly people take you more serious. It's just a fact. It's a fact.
They hate when we say it.
People get pissed off, you know. But it's a fact. It's a fact. There's no way around it.
That you're so superficial. No, it's not.
It has nothing to do with it. And here's another thing too that I think people don't realize is when you look better because of this effort that now you're putting in by eating right, working out, doing these things, you feel better. And when you feel better, then you treat people better and you have more energy to do more things. So all of a sudden you're meeting new people, you're accelerating your job because you're putting in more hours. Your mind, that's another thing too that people don't forget, the connection between someone that's in like the best shape of their life, someone that's in phenomenal shape. There's so much clarity that comes with that. There's your mind work. You don't get that brain fog. You wake up and there's like this. It's like that Limitless pill. You know, you ever seen the movie Limitless? Yeah. Literally, you feel like that when you start to get in. I did carnivore one time, like super hardcore. I don't know if I talked about this last time, but super hardcore during COVID. So 44 days. Literally nothing but 6 eggs and 2 ribeye steaks. That's it. You can ask my wife. She thought I was crazy. And I did the ice bath like 3 times a day. I was working out. Because when COVID happened, I knew, and I hate talking about the pandemic, but anyways, I knew that I had to become a completely different version of myself to be able to handle them shutting us down. And now I've got all these employees looking at me to keep them, you know, like being able to feed their family, all that. So I was like, I got to take myself to another place. And when I did that, the clarity, it was the creativity, the clarity, the vision, it helped everything. And I didn't care about the way I looked. Like that had nothing to do with it. I was sexy, but I didn't care about that. It was that clarity that I had that you can't explain until you get there and you do it.
A lot of questions you have aren't even about fitness. It gets to a point, you know, it starts to, like, when you get clients, it becomes a mental thing for them. Like, hey man, I'm losing my friends. Hey, I'm losing this. And you have to be there for them because you care. Because once again, the person you are right now may have to drop some people, may have to drop some habits, may have to drop some thoughts that circle doesn't agree with. But you're realizing, like, if I want to become this person, I can't think like this, and they quite don't understand it. So I've had a lot of clients lose a lot of friends, and then when 100 days comes around, they're saying, "Yo, what'd you do?" And it's like, I told you what I was doing, and you shitted on me, legit. Like, who are you to eat this at the beach? It's like, well, I don't want to have 4 tequilas at the beach, bro. Like, I want to be mentally, mentally clear.
Did you lose a lot of friends?
Some.
Yeah.
More it was like kind of like a clash. Is like, why are you, like you said, shitting on what we used to do? And it's like, I'm not shitting on that. Like, I enjoyed that, but I learned from it as well. And now I can see from both sides, it wasn't worth it. And I wish I would have realized before. Right. So it's mostly that. And as I said, people will talk about it, whether you're doing a good thing or you're not. So,
you know what, she gets a lot. So she had a transformation, right? She hates when I talk about this because it's a lot of her friends. They always hit her with, yeah, but you were beautiful before. And it's like, guys, that's not the point of it. That's not the point. The point is, I knew I could be somebody better. I know I had another version. I know I have another version I can get to. Right. It's not about if I was pretty or beautiful or not. And where it hurts me, or it stems from, is because it's like, it's kind of like, just be average. Just be that person. There's nothing wrong with that person. Mm-hmm. We're not saying anything's wrong with it. I just want to level up. Right. I want to be somebody, more than I am right now. So she hits that a lot. It's like, yeah, but you were this before. It's like, I'm a completely leveled up person.
I think too, people are just so like everybody's into like the look, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're just working out because you want to be, you know, have a six pack or have a big booty or what or whatever. And it's like, yes and no.
Yeah.
You know, I think I don't want to repeat myself, but that for me is, especially the older you get, like I think I've got age on y'all. The older you get, it really has nothing to do with aesthetics. Like it really, and again, you know, it's a byproduct and you're proud of it, but it's for me, fitness is the anchor of my life, you know, other than God, obviously. But like, as far as like that thing that keeps everything else, you know, moving in the right direction, where it becomes the support system. Like I always say, you know, like as men, as the protectors, like if you can't protect your family, like there's something wrong with that, you know? And I often like see guys with their kids and stuff, and I'm like, I mean, if he had to protect his kids, there's a problem. Like, you know, so, and I take that serious because that is a real thing. And so for me, it has nothing to do with aesthetics. I think that's just a byproduct, and probably the same that you're like, yeah, of course I look good, but now I feel good. Now my mind is clear. Now I've got all these other things, and now I'm helping more people. So it's just so much. Fitness is so much more than that. And I wish people would just understand that, but it's tough. And that's why we're doing what we're doing, is to speak life into people and to say, you can do this. We are not like, yes, we're different because we've made a decision to be different. We're not some alien special people. I want to dive into the book a little bit because, you know, I want this platform for people. Hopefully y'all get like, you know, too many clients. Start by number one, why you wrote the book. Number two, what the foundation of the book is. And number three, why should people read it and join?
So why I wrote the book, I think the main reason I wrote it, because a lot of people, they see the physical transformation. So it's like, well, how do I get to people to explain that so many things have happened in the mind, in the heart, before you see that person in 100 days with the six pack, with all this, and like, there's so many things that happened in between there that I need to explain. So that was the reason I wrote it, because I never wanted people to think like, okay, yeah, their body changed, but it's like, you know how many habits had to change. So the reason, like, what's the second question? Sorry.
So why you wrote the book,
why.
And then what the foundation of the book is, like what you feel like is like this is what it is, you know? If you had to give a 10-second, you know, pitch, well, you can go longer.
And what it is, it's honestly calling yourself out. So it's a book where you actually write and I ask you questions. And I think a lot of times people don't look themselves in the mirror. So if we're talking about reinvention as requirement, we're talking about, hey, if we start with rewiring your brain, like, how do you think of yourself? Tell me how you view yourself. And you'll be surprised when you start writing stuff, that hand starts shaking. It's like, hold on, this is how I see myself? Who do you see yourself in the future? And it's like, these things don't align. So after every chapter, there's questions where you actually have a page where you write your answers on. You know, so it's like, why are you stagnant? What are you suffering? Who do you need to let go? So it's like kind of calling you out, so to say, to force you into a reinvention cycle. If I were to write these things down about myself and then write it down about who I want to become, and I just close that book and say, oh, that was cool, that was a good book, and I don't do anything about it, there's nothing else I can tell you. You know what I'm saying? So I was thinking of it from that standpoint of like, the reason being is for people to understand like it's a requirement. And why is it a requirement? When you start to hear yourself and, you know, see yourself say certain things, I think that's why it'll kind of wake you up. And why you should read it is the third question, is because of that. Like, you don't want to look yourself in the mirror.
And would you say it's very like journal, like?
Yep. So it's more of like a journal, you know what I'm saying? Where you can, you know, doodle whatever you need to do and write around, but it's like, that's it. It's like, here's your chance to call yourself out, to help yourself get to where you're trying to get to. You know?
And who, I mean, this might be a easy answer or not, but like, who's your target audience? Do you feel like?
And that you know, that's a great question. You know? That's something that we struggle with now, because I'm a big Hormozy guy, so to say. So I'm a big Hormozy guy, and it's like, how do you tell somebody they need to be? Who do you tell that they need to be reinvented? And that's where it gets, you know. So it's like, okay, yes, you want people to identify them stagnant, but some people don't even know that they're stagnant. Right. So it's like, how do you get somebody to identify themselves as, I am stagnant? Nothing has changed in the last 2 to 3 years. So the ideal target for people would be people who have acknowledged they're stagnant and have no idea how to get themselves out of it. And the truth is, you have to develop a plan that you can, succeed at and claw yourself out of it. But we do struggle with that. We have a conversation last, like, okay, because it's not about being 30 pounds overweight. That's not what it's about.
That's what I was kind of thinking in my head, is like, wait a minute, so who is this really for? Because I think there's people out there that might be like me and be in the great shape, but maybe they want to level up, and so this could be a way to take themselves, because I always feel like every single time I have success, I feel like I have to kind of take steps backwards to then get more success, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So I think there's people out here it's got to be bigger than weight loss. It's got to be bigger than getting in good shape. It's got to be a complete reinvention, a complete transformation of who you are physically, mentally, spiritually, like everything. Like, let's tear you apart and let's build this second version of you 2.0, Sofia and Travis, so.
And that's exactly, what I would say, what I'm saying? Like, and that's the thing where I say I had to write this book, because I never wanted people to see, I have to, I'm in shape. But it's like, well, your business plan can be in here. You know what I'm saying? Like, your business plan of what you want to do. Like, for example, there's somebody who wants to do this, and they don't have one gym yet. Well, it's like, okay, let's rewire your brain. Let's recommit to whatever promises that you need to promise yourself, so you can get your first one. Like, what are you doing that's stopping you from getting your first one? Well, I need to save money. I need to do X, Y, and Z. Well, you're not saving money because you don't have this left over. And whatever it may be for people. And I think that's where calling yourself out. Do you really want what you say you wanted? Because you realize things have to get sacrificed. We can't have it all. You got to give up something, like you said, in order to attain something. So if I just wake up every day and I work out and I don't eat fast food every day and I don't drink alcohol and go to the club, my life will change? Yeah, it will.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Do it.
Isn't that wild?
They do it for a week. I'm like, do it for 100 days. Your life will completely change. It has to. It's going to change, because you're going to fill that time with other things. You're going to read more. You're going to get into a course. You're going to sign up. You're going to do different things to fill that time, and what's going to elevate your life, rather than certain things that I just named that are literally not letting you go anywhere.
I think also too, people don't like change, and also people don't like getting uncomfortable. Like, that's just a fact. People get comfortable in their comfort, like they're okay with just being okay. Yeah. And that's something that I've never been okay with. It's a lot of okays, but I can't be mediocre, and I can't watch mediocre. And it kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier, is like, that's another thing too, that people think love is like this pat on the back all the time. Well, no, like, love is challenge. Love is, hey, I know there's more in you than you see in yourself. That's real. To me, that's love. Like, it's like if we, I have 2 kids, if I let them like screw up, like, and not challenge them to do better, like that would not be love. So, and that's why I'm grateful for, I've had many people in my life, like my dad, my mom, coaches, they were not going to have me slack off, and I'm sure you've experienced that too, and that's who we're trying to be. We're trying to be that head coach, that dad to everyone that comes in. I always say, everybody that walks away from me, I hope that they walk away better than I found them. Because if they're not, then I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So leave little gems behind. Leave a smile behind. Like, leave something behind that people can maybe get in the car and be like, what kind of Kool-Aid is he drinking? Like, or maybe he's onto something, so.
I heard this a while ago, and it talked about somebody should have 3 types of people in their life. And he talks about, you should always, I forget who said it, but you should always have somebody above you, right? So you're learning from them. You should always have somebody on your level so you can bounce ideas off of. You should always have somebody below you that you can bring along. And I think about that person that you're bringing along from the bottom. It's like, if you really thought about it, you're actually, that person at the bottom, you're learning from somebody 5, 10, 15 years ahead of you. And I wish that people would think like that. I'm like, the stuff that I'm teaching you, it's somebody that's teaching me certain things that I'm teaching you. Right. So like, you're actually getting the biggest discount in the world from me investing in myself and teaching you something that somebody taught me that is light years ahead of both of us combined. That's how I want people to think of, when you're helping somebody or showing somebody. You said, whether it's your experience or you have mentors, like, this is somebody that I'm teaching you not because I think it's the right thing to do. It's because I've seen it work.
Right.
And I've known it. I'm trying to let you know. I wish somebody would have told me this at 22. I wish somebody would have told me, hey, you should do this, you should do that. Like I didn't have that so many times. So I'm like, when you're trying to, put that on people, you can be looked at as like, oh, here you go again. It's like, I'm just doing exactly what I wish somebody would have told me at that age.
And I don't know if you've experienced this, but like I also I love talking to young people, like because their youth like makes me feel youthful. Like so when we're trying to pour into them, their energy and especially when they respond to it, and especially when you see them applying it, that gives us like so much joy and so much, like it helps us keep going. What's the biggest misconception people have about reinvention, and how do you address it with your clients?
I would say it's the physical aspect. They all think it's just like how you look. It's like what we've been talking this whole podcast is internal. And the people that have had the most success in our program have come because they've had mental struggles and they've transformed that into something physical. But it all started within. So I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions. We get thrown into the fitness industry, and it's not that. It's more of a transformative from the inside out. So I think that's one of the biggest.
I'm gonna go back to business, man. But nah, because she'll hit on that. That's a great point. But I think that people think that certain things are designed for us to win. There are so many. Like I gotta check in again. Yes, like. The people you see on my Instagram, they didn't miss a check-in. Does that make sense? There's a reason they walk themselves right to the path. Then you have other people who's like, oh, I forgot my check-in, or I'll do it later. It's like, that's what I'm saying. Like the people who check it, it's not magic. They've held themselves accountable. They let themselves be held accountable. And every check-in, they boom, 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 boom. And I'm just swipe, 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 bam. So it's like, that's my biggest thing. I think a misconception is like, things are set up for you to win. You may not see it, but they're set up for you to win. I'm not going to win off that. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I think that is one of the big misconceptions from the, looking in. Like there are certain things that you do that you're like, yo, this is not for me. This is for you guys. You know what I'm saying? This is for you to be your best version or an X, Y, and Z. Like we talked about the no days off thing. Like the idea of people see that, like no days off from the gym. Like no, man. Yeah, no. I'm telling you, don't take a day off from becoming your best version. Right. Like, so that's how I see it. I think a lot of time the misconception is, why certain things are the way they are. I can't explain everything, but if you just listen to me and you've seen people do it, I promise you, I'm going to take you right to where you want to get to. And I always tell people this last thing I always say, your success is my success. I'm not going to lead you to a path where you don't reinvent yourself, it doesn't work out, and I just walked away. That does nothing for me. When that person wins, I win. So I'm doing it for you, and the selfish act, which I don't think is selfish, but it's like comes now. I win because you won. Right. So I'm not gonna just take your money and just give you here. You do this, it's gonna work. Like no, I'm gonna coach you through it, because a lot of times people have so many questions. Like they see the end product, but so do I have to do this? Can I not do this? And I think that's so frustrating to me. Can I not drink? What's so crazy? It's not to have a rant. They'll say all the things that they know they shouldn't be doing. Right. I think that's the wildest thing. So can I have tequila all the time? Like, can I never drink? I'm like, you can drink. People drink. I'm not saying you can't. You have a choice. Yep. But don't ask me questions about the things that you already know. Maybe I probably shouldn't do this if I want to do this. That's where I think the big misconception kind of, it's like, it's for you. Right.
I agree with that. Can you share a story of one of the most impactful transformations you've witnessed through your coaching and what made it stand out?
Yeah, so
I love the big success stories.
It's been one of my girls, for me personally. When we started a weekend, she's like, so I paid $750 just for this? I'm like,
don't you love that? Oh, that one stings a little bit.
Just wait. And now she looks back, she's like, I can't thank you enough. I'm sure God put you here for a reason. And she had a problem, a health issue, and she's like, I haven't been able to overcome it mentally till now. So it's more of that, like she was mentally like in another place. She's like, I would go to the gym. I've tried everything. I was even considering surgery. And you've blown my mind. You guys changed my life completely.
So yeah, man.
As far as the book, how do people get it? How do they like tell us a little bit like the simplest way of how do you get the book? How do you start the program? We'll leave out the prices because we'll let people, but no.
Theformula.com, spell the way it's on the book. FR4MULA.com. You can buy the book. It's in the media page. It's also on the front page, and then you can also, sign up for a program. The program's gonna start with an application. Only reason it starts with an application, I'm not trying to waste your time, and I don't want you wasting my time. So I just want to make sure that you are dedicated into what you're about to partake in. So when you fill the application, we'll get right back to you, and then we'll hop on a call if it's a good fit. We just want to make sure that you're really ready for, to reinvent yourself, because everybody's not ready. And that's one thing I did have to learn. Like, some people aren't ready to leave their old version. Right. And I'm okay with that. But when they are, they come.
So it's kind of like a questionnaire.
It's a questionnaire.
And it's something that you've thought about to kind of trigger whether
you're serious or not. And like, why?
Yeah.
That's one of the questions. And why do you want to do this? And if it's, there's certain questions where it's like, answers. It could be anything. But it's like, come on, like you gotta give me a deeper reasoning of why you want to do this. Why do you want to reinvent? And when you get to those questions, you really, can understand where a person, where their mind is, and help them with the reinvention.
Yeah, and I think that goes with what you were saying, that you say the same thing over and over again, and like sometimes it takes people 4 or 6 years. That person is ready 4 years down the line to listen to it. That's why it's so important that you keep saying the same message over and over and over again. That's why we post our non-negotiables every single morning. Even if our followers get tired of it, like, oh my God, here they go again with their non-negotiable. They're gonna be ready 4 years down the line. Then 4 years down the line, we're gonna still be posting.
That's why I always crack up at like some of my old videos. I like go back and watch things I was saying in 2011, 2012, and I'm like, man, I sound like a broken record. I was saying the same shit back then, and I am now. But that's the formula, you know? That is what reinvention is. It's just a constant reminder of I can become a better version. I can become, if I do these things consistently.